Fear not, citizens. Hope has arrived because we are back with My Hero Academia. This is the Amateur Otaku podcast where we talk all things MHA, whether that be the manga, the anime, the OVAs, the spin-offs, all things My Hero can be found right here. I'm your host today, Present Mike. Joining me, of course, is co-founder and co-host of the Amateur Otaku podcast, the Mad Doc himself, Isaac Wolf. How you doing, Isaac?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
You didn't say tired, but I think your profile picture speaks for itself.
Exactly.
And of course, other co-founder and co-host of the podcast, Dynamite's arm full of jelly, Brandon Alvarado. How's it going, Brandon?
There's a lot of things about arms suddenly. Arms are in danger, people. If you're listening to this video, I would like you to know that for a simple donation of $5.99, we can give you an arm insurance that will protect you from any manifestation of All for One. Will you be able to cash it? If you have no arms, you will not be able to. But if you remain at least with one arm in the process of your life, we will at least make sure that the other arm is paid for. Please visit us at armfulofjelly.com. That is not a paid advertising. It is not a real site. But there is something about arms in My Hero for some reason.
It's true. So, guys, let's get into this chapter because
I mean, it jokes is more than just an arm length to itself.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that because Isaac, you especially joke about Horikoshi's love for Star Wars, right? So the idea that we're getting all of this Star Wars content and references, especially with the arms, is just pretty funny.
I am your father.
No, God, please no. No. The Michael Scott Jeff, like that's how my soul feels right now. But the sad part is there's still a possibility until we rule it out completely. And I hate it. I forever hate it. So we're talking chapter 359, which is titled Place of Learning. If you guys have not read chapter 359 of My Hero Academia, this is your chance to get out right now. We'll see you guys when the OVAs start in just a little bit.
Okay, I'll see you guys. Bye.
So, in this chapter, we kind of start with the business course, which is a facet of My Hero Academia we rarely see. And I'm looking at Isaac just posted on the Twitter, I am your father, Darth Vader. I hate it. Anyway.
So bad. Such a bad theory. So bad.
I hate it so much. But like I said a couple seconds ago, since he hasn't ruled it out, it's still a possibility. But in this chapter, we start with the business course, and they're vlogging and recording everything that's happening, which is an interesting tactic because when you think about last year, right, Dabi makes his giant reveal through video, through broadcasting to the world his agenda. So I think it's kind of clever that they thought about this and they want to show their side of everything that's going on right now. But I do think it's hilarious how they're like, oh yeah, this is our victory when they're just kind of standing there taking pictures. Is that kind of weird to you, Brandon?
Actually, I mean, I don't think it's weird because to a degree, I mean, it's also kind of like the Game of Thrones of things. Like, one of the things that you gotta love of a Game of Thrones, if you've seen it, right? Which I would hope at least 2/3 of this podcast have seen Game of Thrones, or at least knows of it.
Right.
I know Isaac's read it, right, Isaac? You've read all the books or just one?
I have read all the books. I haven't seen it.
So one of the beautiful things of Game of Thrones.
What did you say, Mike?
Impressive, he said.
Correct.
One of the beautiful things of Game of Thrones, shows like Game of Thrones, shows like Stranger Things, is that they bring forth one of the biggest things about fantasy elements, which are your main party, which means that every member of the main cast has a purpose, right? And not just a significant purpose to the story, but they actually have a purpose in the world. And I go back to the idea of Sam in Game of Thrones, and I go back to the idea of Dustin in Stranger Things, where they are the scholar, they are the wise. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the role that the business class heroes, because you gotta think about it that way, because they're using their quirk as trained at UA to provide a service to the community. In this case, in chronicling historical moments, key moments in history. It's like saying journalists are heroes as well. You know what I mean? And that's kind of an act of journalism, what they're doing. So I think it actually fits perfectly well. It actually fits perfectly well in the world, especially when you think back to the introduction of the Para-Liberation Army.
Yes.
And how they worked, and how they worked through propaganda, through black market information. Like, that's how they disseminated their worldview to be able to bring other followers. I think it's right there in the vein of the book. But before we go further, I do want to say this, which I'm very surprised, Mike, that you skipped it over. But can we pay attention to the fact that I don't know if it's something directly from the translators or is it Horikoshi, but Horikoshi just wants to send a shout out to every single superhero property in the world.
The Sky High reference?
Yeah, bro. Yeah. The Sky. Yeah, bro. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, damn. like you're grasping for straws, Horikoshi. Well done.
It's like, hey, that's the closest we can get. Like, we've been calling it Sky High since the beginning of the series. So I just love how in bold, not just regular text, in bold font, Sky High at UA.
Yep.
It's perfect.
It came out of nowhere, and at the same time, I was like, it's like, so you're telling me that ever since you've been planning this war arc, you had that in the back of your pocket, like, so this one's gonna be Sky High, and so yeah, I going back to the whole conversation about that. Yeah, I think it's great because
can't we say that we highly appreciate superhero reference?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Indeed.
But I like also how, similar to Naruto in the coin jar,
there we go.
Similar to Naruto, how I don't know the name of the creator, but how he tries to find a way to showcase every single aspect of ninja society. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it kind of, Horikoshi's doing that same thing here. And he does the same thing by allowing a lot of his people to do vigilantes and to do team-up missions, because he's looking to explore all those different corners. So it actually works very well.
Speaking of corners of the My Hero universe, there's another spinoff called School Briefs. If you guys look at the background here, it's right on the screen. Which is very...
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's very slice of life. There's like no action, but it's just all the stuff that we feel like doesn't get enough focus in My Hero Academia, like their day-to-day school stuff, is in that series. It's great.
Is it Horikoshi or is it another assistant?
I'm pretty sure it's another assistant.
I know that I think that particular spinoff is over. It finally finished recently too, right?
Yeah, they have one more volume that needs to get translated.
Right.
But I don't know if there's anything after that.
Yeah. But I mean, it says a lot if all the spinoffs are closing, just as we're going into the war arc, right?
We're in the end game now.
Say it, Strange.
Isaac, did you have any thoughts on like the business course and their vlogs as this battle unfolds?
No, honestly, it was one of the least interesting parts of the chapters. I really it really didn't click with me, if that makes any sense. Even though it makes a sense of what they were doing.
Yeah, I get you. It doesn't, like, in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it matters until Horikoshi makes it matter later on.
True.
But I do want to just point out, because we didn't even talk about the excuse me, we didn't talk about the opening of this book, right? The beautiful double page spread celebrating My Hero Academia's 8th anniversary. Can you guys believe this series has been going on for 8 years?
Beautiful.
And
So
here
great.
I thought it was 9.5.
I can hear part of. I can actually hear. It's so great. It is so great. I can kind of hear the back of Isaac's subconscious going, One Piece is longer. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
Yeah.
I do find it cool that Bakugo and Deku are the ones saying 8. That's actually a very good touch.
It is so great. I have it on the screen here for those watching the stream. It is amazing, the detail in this piece. First off, the Midori is over here in the corner are so adorable. Deku, Uraraka, and their 2 kids. It's cute. But also, we only see one of Bakugo's arms in this picture.
I was just about to say that.
Is there, no, and you also only see one of Endeavor's arm too.
Right.
So it's taking into consideration, like, the whole thing. So is Dobby just floating there lifeless somewhere?
Dobby is down here next to Toga, looking as sharp as ever. Like, the drip on that guy is insane.
But you know what? Now I'm gonna put I'm gonna put my hat here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just gonna say a very particular observation, which might not mean anything at all. But if you look at something, the only 2 people wearing black suits are Dobby and Lemillion. And what do black suits look like?
Where are you going with this, man?
Suits that you put on dead people
Oh,
during their
no.
funerals.
No.
I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying. Endeavor has a black suit. I'm just saying, bro. I mean,
so that means Sero's gonna die too. Also, Kirishima not wearing a suit is just really funny. Looking like a stripper here.
Oh my god. I don't know.
Wow.
It makes no sense. But at the same time, it's like Dobby's practically dead too. So it's like, I don't know. Or maybe just, I find it very particular that with all the red, only very particular characters have that, which makes you think.
You have a point.
So with that line of logic, what are we gonna do with Ochako? Right?
Oh, dear Lord.
She has a little bit of red though. Oh, and Dobby
Good.
has red shoes. I don't know. Maybe his foot survives? No.
Oh, gosh.
You know what? That actually breaks my theory. I take it back.
Also, you were talking about arms earlier, Brandon. Let's just talk about Mr. Compress, who lost his arm first. Respect.
I have to. Maybe I should mention that later in the stream. But there is something particular with the Bakugo that makes me wonder if it's a reference or if it's actually sort of like trying to semi-confirm things.
So that's a great point, because as we move along through this chapter, we meet back with Kachan as he's fighting all for Tomura. And
Well done.
that's what I've been calling him for like the last few months. It is just way simpler that way, because I have no idea who's talking. Ever. So Kachan's fighting.
Or you can go the cute way and just go all for Shiggy.
Yes, all for Shiggy is fighting Kachan, and it's like Bakugo is holding his own for like a second.
Yeah.
Just about a second, which is insane. And we get this really great shot of seeing like the support of Yaoyorozu, Kaminari, Mona Maezawa kind of backing up Bakugo and trying to keep this thing afloat as we wait for Deku, who we have no idea what's going on with Deku because Mandalay can't get in contact with him. We know him and the first user saw something crazy, and then we cut. Ooh, that's so frustrating. It's going to be an anime cliffhanger, and it's going to piss so many people off.
I have a lot to say. Keep going.
Okay. So, the fight between Bakugo and All for Shigaraki doesn't go well. It's pretty boss of Bakugo, who's, again, one of the strongest in UA. Shigaraki just grabs his arm and says, I'll take that. Gone. Toast. insane. Isaac, you had a theory about Bakugo. What was it?
Have we seen a full body picture of the second user of All for One?
Yes.
Okay, because that scar that is getting is, I don't know if it's a reference because popular fan theories or not, but it certainly looks like a certain scar the second user had, if I'm not mistaken.
But doesn't he have both his arms?
That's why what I was wondering, if he has both of his arms.
I think so. I think he just has the hair like Bakugo, and he has like a scar on his face. But the whole thing also is we've seen. I think we've seen the second user in a flashback because I think the first and the second user, no, the first and the third user knew the first user, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, the first
Right?
user obviously know the first user.
No.
I think
What I mean by
you said
is
the
that
first user. You said the first user and the third user.
Here we go.
Knew
User number 1, user number 2. He's
It
got a
doesn't-
giant gauntlet on, but that's the opposite hand.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
it could just be a reference then.
yeah. So, are you? You got something more to say about this, Isaac?
Yeah, but then
Go ahead.
honestly, it makes me wonder if it just was a reference. Then let me put it like this:
So you're saying
I wouldn't,
you're questioning if the scar on Bakugo's face is like the time travel theory again, right?
yeah, but if it's just a reference, because I just thought for myself that maybe he doesn't die and they use that to time travel shenanigans after all. And but if they don't do the time travel shenanigans, it was just a reference. I am on T. It will say it sounds so wrong to say that out of context, but I'm Team Bakugo will bite the dust at the end of the things. Honestly,
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about a time travel situation right now. I think it would be very anticlimactic for this type of story. Like, unless you plant something like that far off, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that kind of thing needs to be planted. And I like how they play with the idea that there's quirks that could hint towards that. Like, you could say that
Harry.
Night Eye. It's Night Eye, right?
Yeah, Sir Night-Eye.
Sir Night Eye, Eri, but they're not necessarily time travel. They're just manipulation of time in a very isolated sense. Time travel involves a lot more.
I mean, who is to say that Aerith's powers wouldn't evolve to the point that she could use her powers for time travel? I'm not saying that they will be doing that. I'm just speaking hypothetically.
No. You're totally right. Like her powers with a boost could create something like that. But interestingly enough, the whole thing with Eri is that she's able to affect things, not herself. So that's why I kind of see that. But yeah, I would be really really surprised and really appalled if that was introduced here. Like even like for example, if we talk about Attack on Titan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you've read the whole book, right, Mike?
Yeah, 100%.
But spoilers, just in case.
But, well, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
good.
but spoilers. Just in case.
So there's a frog. No, I'm kidding. But it's like the whole time travel esque. It's not even time travel, but the whole memory time travel thing that is imbued into the DNA of the Attack Titan. It works very well because it's very isolated in particular for AOT. You know what I mean? It's not like what a grander scheme idea of time travel would look or sound like. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I just and being that my hero is really formulaic in the terms of quirks and how it's very derivative in terms of how everybody has a quirk and can do a certain thing. I feel throwing time travel as something in and of itself that's not a quirk, because that's kind of the only way they work. It would be kind of like throwing a wrench in it and going, "Hey, we're going to do this we're going to pull this out of our ass." And I think Horikoshi wouldn't do that to the readership. I think
It's with that same line of thinking though. That's why I think the dad for one theory doesn't work. It's something that should have been planted way earlier,
right.
and especially with having them interact already, it just doesn't, mesh with how the story is going.
Right.
Yeah, probably. I was just it just crossed my mind because that scar he's gonna get.
Well, I don't know if you were
screams at
looking.
him.
I showed the picture of the second user. I showed a close up of his
Yeah.
face, and he does have like the Bakugo X on his face, which is kind of cool. But if you look at Bakugo in this chapter, it's very much around like his left eye or his right eye. Sorry.
Then I just misjudged it. Okay, then I am continuing to believe that he's gonna bite the dust before the series is over. Then
I have a feeling also that there might be something not time travel esque, but I see more. I know I'm mumbling right now. I'm pulling a Deku, but
Mumbling.
you're always mumbling, so that's nothing new, bud.
but I wouldn't even dare to say, what if they do something of a Naruto generational thing, where you know how with the whole Lord of Six Paths had the two sons, and like the strongest people in Konoha ended up being descendants or far off descendants or spiritual descendants of these people, right? Mm-hmm. Like I got a feeling that part of the connection that Bakugo and Deku have to do with maybe that is Bakugo's dad, and Bakugo's dad had a connection with One for All.
Didn't Horikoshi work on Naruto in some capacity?
I've never heard that, but if you say so.
But does it make sense what I'm saying? Like
it's very much Aang and Zuko are technically related type of deal.
Correct. They're related by circumstance, but also like a fate thing. But like who's to say that when Deku gets there, Bakugo is sidelined because of what's happened to him. By the way, if Deku ever arrives,
oh yeah, he has to come next chapter, right? We can't kill.
Well, that's the problem, and that's part of my issue with what's going on right now. And since you brought it up, I'm just gonna go straight into that. Is that okay?
Okay, it just opens out how much Naruto has inspired again. So
What was that?
Remembered. I was just double checking about the whole Horikoshi working on Naruto, but the only thing I can find is how big of a fan he is of that show.
Oh,
so he's just like the rest of us. Got it. Go, Brandon.
But who's to say that through the power of One for All, Baku can come back to the fight? Like we've always I think we've talked about it before, where
we're sharing chakra, baby.
Exactly. I mean, it's been done in the OVA. That's quote unquote not, but is canon. Mm-hmm. But so why not here, right? And the name of the quirk actually says it. One for all. So I don't know. Maybe One for All's true power is that it's Kurama. So
remember that Heroes Rising was the original ending for the series, so I wouldn't be surprised if some ideas still are in
play. That's official from Horikoshi?
Yeah, that's official from Horikoshi.
Interesting.
It was going to be like you can even see Nine and Shigaraki, Chimera and Dabi. Like there's parallels between the villains in that movie and the actual villains of the series. But he scrapped it, extended the series by like 2 or 3 years, and they just turned that original concept into a movie, which is why the movie's so freaking good.
Yes, it is very good. Now, here's a gripe that I have, and it's a gripe, but it isn't a gripe, but it really is a gripe. So, the ending of this chapter is supposed to be the biggest piece of fan service ever, right? It's supposed to be like the biggest moment because, of course, we all know that Sun Eater and Hoda have been fighting alongside Bakugo and all these guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
and trying to hold him up. So, and we've all been asking, where's Lemillion and what's going on and da 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 da, right? And
Yeah.
the fact that Lemillion steps in now, which by the way, the only way he's there is because he's just been hiding all this time. That's the only thing that makes sense.
Well,
I still stand by the fact that he has been Aerys' bodyguard
No,
slash.
no,
That's the
no.
only reason I can see it makes sense because he's sort of like her big bro.
No, no.
He's
And but what I
arguably the
mean,
most closest to besides Eraserhead here.
but correct me if I'm wrong. No, Eri is not in that sky high.
right.
Eri's
No.
not there. So Lemillion has been there since that thing went in the air,
Right.
but he stayed in the sidelines.
I think you can. So here's a way you can excuse.
Oh, and by
that.
the way, that's not my gripe. But keep going.
Oh man. So here's a way you can kind of excuse that. I would say because I thought about that too, and it's like you see how battered and torn up Sun Eater and Nejire are, and it's like, where were you, bro? No, but I think you can kind of excuse like maybe he was where Yayorozu and the support team is. Like maybe he was like standing guard or trying to protect them, because also in this fight he is a very close combat fighter.
Right.
He has no range, so I don't think he's that effective against Shigaraki anyway.
True.
So maybe he was serving another role and we just didn't see him. But go ahead.
True.
What was your gripe?
No, true. And maybe he's there to go grab Bakugo and phase. He can phase with people with him, right?
Nope. That's why it was such a struggle against Night Eye. Otherwise, he would have just grabbed Eri and hit it.
So again, so yes, like they're setting it up for a great Lemillion face-off, right? Which the only one we've seen is one of the most best moments in the whole book, which is when he fights Overhaul to protect Eri, right? And again, he does that until Goiku gets there.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of recycling there, but that's not my gripe. Is that why do we keep finding ways to delay Deku? Like
Here's
it's like we're going out of our, like we're pulling a Goku in the chamber while everybody gets their ass kicked by Frieza. That's what's going on right now.
Here's the thing, though. I don't know if you were in the recordings when we talked about it, but a show of My Hero Academia has a sort of like a semi-issue, depending on how you view it. If you do too much of on Deku, people are asking why can't we see anything on the other side? But if you allow Horikoshi to focus on the other people and give them more spotlight to shine, it just, where is Deku? Or the old thing there. It is extremely hard, if not impossible, to make that fine line that pleases both, because he has written so many characters that it could, like Mike said in a previous recording, cover a show of their own.
So, yeah, I did say that a few episodes ago, but I totally get where Brandon's coming from, because we've been delaying Deku. Like, remember what we said a couple chapters ago? It has been months since Deku has actually had any meaningful purpose in the story. And we keep cutting back to him. It's like, show us what is delaying him at least. Like, say, hey, he's got to fight 20 Nomu. And then we cut back to this. It's kind of weird how they keep finding excuses to not show us what's going on with Izuku when this entire battle hinges on Deku taking out Shigaraki.
And not only that, it's like you're distracting us from the main issue that occurred when they employed their plan, that Izuku ended up where he wasn't supposed to be. So we're stretching the fact that he's not where he's supposed to be. So that problem is still lingering. The only reason we remember that that's the original problem that they're trying to solve is because we pay attention. You know what I mean? Like, there's probably a lot of people that have read it and enjoy it, and they forgot that that's actually the actual storyline problem they're trying to solve. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, that's the current want of the story. And not only that, we have a big face-off that was cut short. Like with the revelation of All for One going onto Overload, we haven't gone back to that.
Right.
We don't know the fate of Endeavor entirely. We think he's already dead, but we don't know because we cut to the whole Bakugo thing. We don't know what Deku's facing. We don't know if he's astonished at the fact that he sees all the different hands of Shigaraki, because it could be that. It could be that he's getting close and he saw all those hands. You know what I mean?
You
That
could
would be
say
pretty
that.
anticlimactic.
I mean,
Right.
you can say that there's a lot of handful events.
And armful of jellies. But then again, I do want to say that it's not that they're not carrying the drama and tragedy that we want, because everything going on with Bakugo, it's breaking my heart, and it's and like the emotional beats are there, right? Mm-hmm. But it's like we've gotten so many emotional beats, but you kind of I'm starting to feel like the structure of the end game is starting to kind of like the hinges are shaking. You know what I'm saying? Like it's starting to lose stability. And you know me, I don't shit on anything, but it's like I mean some things. But but it's starting to lose a little bit of stability, and I felt it. And I feel that. Did I want to see Lemillion again? Yes. Did I want to see him in this context? No. But I felt that because I care about Izuku, which is, I don't know, the one you should be caring about, I did not enjoy that reveal.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think I probably just got a little burned out before you did. So like at this point, I'm just kind of, I don't know. It's fine. I think the biggest issue for me is that, yeah, we knew that these other two members of the big three were there, and what was Lemillion doing all that time? And so I feel like you could have got around that by showing him there and showing what his role was from the top. Right. And so we can have that moment where Eraserhead is yelling, protect his student, and then we have his former students come in to hold the fort while Deku gets back. And you can probably have a really good 1 or 2 chapters, because we've never seen the big three fight together. That is a moment you probably need to cover before the series ends. But yeah, it's just placed in a very awkward moment. And like Isaac was saying earlier, there's just so many characters. Like, we don't know what the heck's going on with Dabi. And it's been like 2 months almost.
And not only that, like, you're dealing such a big blow to Bakugo. Which, by the way, is he the strongest after Deku of UA? Probably.
Yeah,
but
him or Shoto.
Right. But are you trying to tell me that the big three are stronger than Bakugo? Because that would make sense when they first appeared.
Which they did that. Remember when Lemillion wiped the floor with everybody?
Yes, Lemillion by himself, by the way.
Right.
Right. Does that apply now? Because a lot has happened.
Right.
And it's like, I'm not saying, I'm pretty confident what's Lemillion's name? Togata. I know for a fact he's been working out even without powers. Like, we know. That's just who he is. But, I mean, I don't know.
It's Nejire's time to shine. She's the one member of the big three who's never got a fight.
Please don't kill her off, Horikoshi.
I don't want them to kill Mirko. Please don't kill Mirko.
Oh, gosh. I love her cannon arm, though. Like, that is sick. That is such awesome.
She's pulling a Samus Mega Man. It's amazing. I want a game where it's just a bunny shooting like her.
I think that's called Mario versus Rabbids, but yeah.
Stop.
Your way of putting the words out together, Brandon, sounds way extremely bad off topic.
So, guys, we have everything going on with Bakugo. What are you guys' thoughts on just like him going up against Shigaraki? Because we were talking about like not seeing the big three in a real battle. Bakugo has never had his own villain when you think about it. Like, Shoto has Dabi, Uraraka has Toga, Deku of course has Shigaraki. Bakugo has mainly just been fighting lower level threats, and his classmates, his peers. This is the first time we've actually seen him in like a real high stakes battle, and he got taken down pretty easily. Like that's why I feel like Isaac's saying he's going to die. I don't think so, because I don't think we have him go out that way just yet.
Honestly, the reason why he doesn't have a personal villain, so to speak, is that there are emotional connection between Uraraka and Miss. I will. Why do I scrap on her name right now? Because since you
Toga.
Toga and Shota because of she wants to help her. Dabi and Shota because Dabi is Shota's brother, and Shigi and Deku. Well, that's self-explanatory. With Bakugo, his deal is he wants to be the strongest fighter, but it's sort of like Vegeta kind of thing. Yes, we have that, but Vegeta. Sure, Vegeta sort of like have Frieza as a nemesis on its own, but his biggest deal in this the manga is that he is trying to live with the fact that he is never going to surpass Goku no matter how hard he tries, and trying to, but still being his own fighter. The Bakugo is sort of like that in that regard, which makes it sort of like you don't need a personal villain for him.
And this is where you find why Deku's so important. Because when you think about it, when you take everything that Isaac just said, it literally just shows to you how a lot of the characters depend on their interaction with Deku to have a purpose in the story.
Yeah.
You know, so it kind of brings that full circle. Because but
and
also,
I could see Bakugo say, considering how big of a deal Oliver Shigi said that he's close to Deku, I could see that Shigi is using Bakugo to confront Deku about it, and Bakugo is the same and sacrificing himself to saving Deku.
Now the other thing is it makes you think also when you were saying about Deku having a villain or what you said. I kind of, it's hard for me to say that Deku has a villain because technically the Deku has inherited a villain. Because I know that Shigaraki is a villain, but Shigaraki, it's like Shigaraki's fighting against what Deku represents, not who Deku is. So there's no real personal connection there, apart from the fact that All for One is there and One for All is there. So,
I guess my thing is, it's not that he has like stakes against Shigaraki, like how Shoto does with Dabi. My thing is, he has an ideal to confront, right? Whereas he has something like it's a clash of ideologies essentially between the two. Right. And Bakugo has none of that except with Deku. Like his entire purpose as a character is Deku's rival. And so I feel like for Bakugo to only, again, appear to be one of the strongest characters in the series, but he never gets a major fight until now, it'd be kind of lame to kill him off now. If he had like a great fight with Muscular or some other bad earlier in the series, sure. But I think it's just a disservice to the character for him not to have like a main antagonist or a threat that he's been combating besides Izuku, and then you kill him off without Izuku even being there.
And there comes the part of what I'm talking about. They are sort of like doing the whole OVA stuff that they are fighting together against Shigi. Shigi is getting in the upper hand, and because Bakugo knows that Deku is their best chance to defeating this monster, he's sacrificing himself to save Deku, and Deku go all Krillin sacrificing himself. Also being killed by Frieza.
That's where we get really fanficky, though, Isaac. Is that we have nothing else to suggest.
He has taken so many. He has taken so much influences from other popular media that I wouldn't be surprised if that happened.
Now, I do want to find interesting since we're grabbing some from everything. Since we're grasping at straws, I kind of like the idea again. Naruto, how the second tier character from the main character, quote unquote, both lost one arm because Endeavor, even though he's the number one hero, he's number two to All Might, so he loses the arm. And Bakugo is technically Deku's number two, so he loses an arm.
Either he.
What other main character in Naruto loses an arm?
Sasuke.
So I don't know, interesting, but I think we need to. Are we reviewing or doing fan theories? I don't know anymore.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like Isaac threw a crazy theory, and it's very interesting. I totally see where he's coming from, but from this one chapter, I just think that's a major leap.
Yeah.
One thing I want to focus on, though, and you mentioned this in passing earlier, Brandon, is that Alfred Tomura says the only thing I care about is your relationship. You're closer to Izuku Midoriya than anyone else. Did you guys check Twitter all week? This has been trending as a debate all freaking week.
Oh, trust me, I've seen that one.
I have not seen it. I don't know what we're talking about.
It's the whole Bakudeku shippers have gone haywire because they feel that this is indicating that they are going to end up together because of this line.
Oh my god.
The Baku Deku shippers and the Uraraka Deku shippers have been going at it, and
but that has nothing to do with what he's talking about.
Nothing at all. It's just the My Hero fandom is so funny to me.
Oh my god. They do understand that what brings them together is the truth of One for All and All Might.
Mm-hmm.
I can see the fan fiction now. Deku and Bakugo get married and All Might officiates the wedding. I know it's out there.
Adorable.
It's so bad. But it's like I don't know.
I feel like Bakugo's arc is not done because you have that moment where he's on the ground clutching what's left of his arm, and he's just like, I'm not even close to being powerful enough to stop you. And then you have Aizawa say he's striving to be number one, right? I feel like that's when we get plus ultra Bakugo. And whether he dies or not in that scenario, I just feel like he's going to go ham, not because he needs to wait for Deku, but because Bakugo ain't going to lose. Like, that's his entire character.
I'm glad that you say that.
Just look at World's mission when he kind of goes that, okay, I'm more than likely going to die, but I'm taking you motherfuckers with me. And he is that kind of person, which makes also is a reason why I think he could sort of like, I'm not gonna say that he is going to kill him, but sacrificing himself in that, trying to take him down with him, or sacrificing himself in some regard. You get what I mean.
I'm actually glad that you bring up the world mission, and I'm glad the fact that you also said
we have an interview with the English voice actor for Rhoda Soul from that movie.
Power of a plug.
Of course.
So, shout out to Ryan. Yay. Now, one of the things that I find interesting about the whole Bakugo thing also is the fact that, based on what you two just said, is that one of the biggest reasons why I think Bakugo's arc cannot end is because when you think about it, apart from anything that has occurred in an academic setting, I'm being very specific with that, and apart from the OVAs, we have not seen a Bakugo heroic moment at all.
Right, that's what I said earlier, right? He's never been in a major fight.
Right. Well, but that's the thing, that you can be in a major fight and still not have like a big hero moment. You know what I mean? Like for example, Deku had his big hero moment when he saves Eri. You know what I mean? And yes, it's involved in a fight, but like maybe Bakugo finds a way to be the hero, not by fighting, not by winning, but he
by
does
saving.
Exactly. But exactly. That's the point. Like that's because, for example, you could say that one of the closest hero moments that Baku has had is when he actually wins the battle between 1A and 1B, by leading the team to victory. Like, you can call that a Bakugo Hyuga moment, but that's academic. You know what I mean? That happens within the OVA, not in a real world setting. But you can see a lot of that. But you've never had a moment like what we see in Heroes Rising, like what we see in World's Mission, occur in the actual book, which I think is what needs to happen. And after that, you can put the you can put, I mean, you can put the he put the costume down, lower the gauntlets, and call it a day. And who knows? He's probably the next Aizawa. You know, like.
Oh boy.
So.
Don't
Can you
get me
imagine
wrong,
Bakugo as Aries' teacher?
It would be
that would be
amazing.
hilarious.
Yes.
But don't get everyone. Don't get me wrong. I don't want Bakugo to die, but
Yeah,
honestly, no, I'm not.
I mean,
No,
you've
I'm
been
not.
killing him for the last 100 books.
Minetta I wouldn't mind seeing dying, but that's
Who?
Minetta.
Sticky balls.
There.
Hey, I'm just saying. I'm trying to make sure he remembers who we're talking about.
I mean, I do know the name. Oh my god.
Yeah, but that's why
That was perfect.
But like I was saying, I don't want him to die, but everything I see currently, I'm just. If he could survive, it wouldn't surprise me. But I'm so sure that he will. That if I wouldn't. How should I put it? I wouldn't bet $1,000 if I had to. But if someone said, "Do you bet 50?" I would bet 50. But since I need to save on money, I won't do that officially. But you get my point.
I got a feeling that Isaac is that one friend that when you're gonna try something out, he's gonna bet against you and he's gonna be like, I mean, I saw the odds.
Speaking of friends, though, right? We know Deku's on his way, but you know who we haven't seen? We haven't seen Kirishima. Where is he? What battlefield is he on, and why isn't he?
Isn't he in the same battlefield as Uraraka?
I know we saw Gang Orca, Froppy, and Uravity. I think that was it as far as characters we recognized. I could be wrong there. Let me flip through like 15 chapters ago.
Actually, I might be able to solve this. Let's see.
Yeah. Well, while you do that, I just think it's crazy that we haven't seen Kirishima. We saw Jiro before we saw Kirishima, which is just funny. But Jiro's great. We also had another character who lost something. She lost earphone jack in the ear. So
that's crazy.
That's unfortunate. It feels like we're just targeting the power base of the characters, right? If you shoot projectiles or you're a close combat fighter, you lose a limb. Jiro loses her earphone jacks. It's crazy. Guys, did you have anything else you wanted to discuss with this chapter, chapter 359?
I mean,
wait, wasn't Kirishima with Shoto?
He might be. I don't remember.
I think he was. Now that I think about it.
Yeah. All I'm saying, want to say more about this chapter is, Deku, I'm your father.
Okay, sure. If that's how you want to play it.
I don't believe it, but I would laugh my ass off if that's the twist he's going with.
Feel free to laugh away.
We have to cut back to Uraraka because if you guys remember, and that's the problem of having so many plot lines, Toga has a vial of twice his blood. So we're going to get Sad Girls Parade any chapter now. And that's going to be crazy because Deku just left.
Deku just left.
Brandon, do you have anything else you wanted to talk about?
I hope Lemillion doesn't die. Because it would be kind of like on the nose if he dies at this point. I don't know. And all I know is this. It's kind of interesting that, or you know what? Different perspective. Let's be hopeful. right?
Mm-hmm.
The fact, what's the name of the guy that has the copy quirk?
Monoma.
The fact that Monoma is struggling to keep his eyes open should be an indication the deck is closed. I would hope.
Hopefully.
Because as soon as he closes his eyes,
Smash.
I
Boom.
mean,
Perfect cut.
I mean, I mean, if he was able to do that with Deku's arm, with Bakugo's arm, for a moment there, when the gauntlet broke, I thought that he applied decay,
Yeah.
and my heart skipped a bit. But no, he just crushed it. And the fact that he has the physical might of All Might is like, oh damn.
Yeah, that's another.
That's
But again, that's why I think Bakugo can't die right now, right? Because you remember back in season 2, where it was Deku and Bakugo versus All Might for their exam, and they passed the exam by running away. They couldn't take down All Might.
right.
So this would be the perfect like full circle moment for those two to show how they've leveled up
Yep.
and beat down Shigaraki.
Yep.
But regarding the death flags on Lemillion and the Big Three, I'm sorry, I'm terrified. Because once Sun Eater says he wants a proper graduation, and they talk about having
Yeah.
Principal Nezu throw them one once this is all over, it's like, oh god, you know that's not going to happen. Somebody's not
Yep.
making it out of here.
Someone
It's
open
like-
up. Someone open up their drawers and grab that red shirt.
It just screams. It's kind of like the whole typical. I can't mention this information now. Meet me at Death Mountain at this time.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and it's like I hope, like as much as I love Sun Eater, I hope it's not Nejire. She hasn't done a single thing worthwhile in this series. So for her to
Is it-
just die, that would
See,
suck.
and that's where everybody that says the same thing about Sakura will go like, might as well.
Yeah,
But
And Sakura does a lot. And yes, she can sometimes be a little bitch, but she did a lot though.
Is it bad to say that I don't? If there is one person that I think I wouldn't be surprised if Sun Eater and Lemillion be the one that survives of the three. All things considered.
I mean, considering how the story's going, yeah, that is what you would expect. That's why I hate it because
Who, Lemillion and Sun Eater?
yeah, being the ones to make it out of
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't want any. Make it clear.
I mean,
like Isaac, I don't
considering
want.
the track record.
I don't want any of them to die. I just want
I'm not either.
Nejire to have her moment and not get killed off or taken
Yeah,
down.
I'm with you, but considering the
Isaac, we're trying to remain positive, man.
yeah, I'm positive, but
Well,
you can't
well,
deny that the track
I mean-
record is there.
I mean, to be fair, the big three it's a mirage. It's literally a homage to Naruto and the 3-man squad.
Like everything else.
Of course. And if we think about it, they're the big three.
That's funny because you see it as a Naruto reference. I see it as a sports reference. It's just funny how we go about that.
True. But
Horse reference?
yeah, sounds like a sport reference. But
I'm
also
not a big sport fan, so maybe that's why it flies over my head.
It's not worth me discussing who the big three are. That's LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. It's not worth getting into.
oh my god.
Okay.
They went by the big three like 2 years before this book came out. So that's all.
So you have the big three, but then you also think about the big three that really stood out in Naruto weren't necessarily Sasuke, Naruto, and Sakura. It was actually Jiraiya, Orochimaru, and Tsunade. And only 2 went home. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yep.
And if the equivalent of Jiraiya is not gonna make it, that's Togata.
That's unfortunate. Well, that's dark. We're gonna leave that one here, folks. Hopefully, in 6 days when we come back, we still have 3 people standing, and hopefully, Nejire does something. Like, I don't want her to be Sakura, please. Sakura's great. Don't get me wrong. Like, what she does is great when she gets a chance to do something. It was just
There
few and far
you
between.
go. There you
Oh,
go.
if Leo heard that, he would just start ranting about Sakura as a character.
We've done this now.
Oh, jeez.
Now, I do want
By
to
the
ask.
way, we are doing a Boruto episode down the line, but yes, I will bite the bullet and be a part of one.
What were you saying, Brandon?
I don't know what just happened. What I was gonna say was I forgot. I forgot. I forgot what. I think.
I apologize.
No, you're fine. I think it's time for us to head somewhere. But I mean, I don't know what to expect here. I don't know why, but I have a feeling. I just have this feeling that next chapter may not lead with everything we've seen. This next chapter might not be what happens in that fight. Might be something else now.
We're going back to Uraraka, baby.
I would laugh if that was the case,
Can
honestly.
you imagine? Let's just keep taking the story to the opposite direction.
Right.
I would.
And it will be the
genuinely
second. It will
laugh.
be the second story that we live on a cliffhanger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I kind of. But at the same time, to be fair, if you think about it, and I know we were supposed to end like 15 minutes ago,
It's
but
good, man. It's fine.
This
but-
is us three we're talking about. Are you
the
really
big
that
the big
surprised,
three,
or-
you mean? So
Yeah.
so am I the only one? I think I mentioned this a while back, and I think I mentioned this when we started talking about the whole Shoto Dabi confrontation, and I'm starting to think about it now, and it kind of eases my distaste for what's going on. It's how it is very Western scheduling of arcs. Like he's using a lot of, because he's treating this like a Crisis of Infinite Earths or a big DC event, and what we're seeing is all the tie-ins, and we're still waiting for that monthly main chapter to come in. Does that make sense?
Totally.
That's
That's why I think in the anime it's gonna feel way different, right? Because it's
Yeah.
gonna be 2 or 3
Yeah.
chapters per episode. It's gonna be a little snappier in the pacing there.
Right, and it's going to help this, but at the same time, you got to think about it. It's going to be a moment where there's not going to be any Deku, you know,
Yeah.
and that's going to be like daunting. But I think if it wasn't because I started thinking about this again now, because now it feels like that more than ever, because everything feels isolated, and we're like following everybody's own books, and we're just seeing all the tie-ins before we go back to the main event. So.
For sure. It's very much like a deceased type of storytelling where we have all those tie-ins with like
Right.
Red Hood and everything.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
Mr. Wolf, you got anything else, my friend? Besides Dad for one.
No.
Okay.
No.
Dad for one. That is so bad.
Anything else, Brandon?
No, I think I'm good.
We have said our piece. Luckily, the wait for chapter 360 is 6 days, not even a full week, because we're going to be back on Sundays, which is awesome. The last day of Comic-Con. Perfect time to have more superhero stories.
Yes, sir.
Guys, if you enjoyed this episode, please give us a like. Comment your theories and ideas about My Hero Academia, where it's going, and how excited are you for the anime to return. They're premiering episode 1 of season 6 at Hero Fest, which is awesome. People are going to get a look at it. We don't even know what happens in episode 1 because we read the manga. But excited for the folks there to check out the anime.
I mean, do we though? Do we know what happens? Because I don't know if you remember, most of these seasons are not based on the book. They're filler recaps.
I would normally agree with you, but I feel like they wouldn't debut a filler episode at Jump Fest. That just kind of feels like a slap in the face to say, hey, here's episode 1 of My Hero Academia. And it's recap. Here's Izuku Midoriya. Young man, you can become a hero. Nobody wants to see that. The fact that one All Might flashback, this is a rant right quick. The fact that one All Might flashback gets more character development than Uraraka will forever piss me off.
Damn.
It has more screen time than Momo. It's insane. Anyway, you can check out the podcast on Twitter at Amateur Otaku Pod. Isaac, where can people find you?
Well, you can find my work at Wobum Entertainment, and you can find me over at Elomaniac on Twitter. And also, next week we are going, and I'll just make a heads up right now. There's a specific episode that's gonna up on YouTube. Be aware for for some not safe for work language. I'm just. It's a forewarning. It's a legacy episode that comes up next Thursday.
Oh boy.
I
Brandon know
assume,
what I'm talking about.
I assume it's Sword Art Online, but that's just a guess on my part.
Yeah.
Season
Yeah.
2.
Oh boy. Brandon, it's been fun talking. Where can people find you, my man?
You can find me at the Scarlet Fan 52 on Twitter, at the Scarlet Fan 52 on Instagram.
And on TikTok, even though he has no idea what he's doing there.
True.
You can find me at Novice Cinephile everywhere. Just type in Novice Cinephile. I'm there. Also on youtube.com/Novice Cinephile, where we're talking about more superheroes. This week, it's The Boys on the Chatter After. Like Isaac said, content warning. You've been warned.
Boy.
It's insane. With
So
that said, though, guys, we will catch you next week with more Boku no Hero Academia. Until next time, go beyond. Plus.
Plus Ultra.
Peace.